Oh, we've got so many comments from you. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Melinda says, it's horrendous when you get people on bigger wages saying they cannot live on the amount that they earn. What if you were earning 20 to 25k? Fair point.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, Sue says, as people in state pension don't pay national insurance, all pensioners are forced to work beyond retirement, won't benefit from a cut in national insurance. However, a cut in income tax or an increase in the threshold would help everyone.
Yeah, and Linda says the 2p cut in national insurance will go straight into a big council tax hike. The government needs to raise the threshold, she says.
Yeah, Jeff says, good morning, Jeff. Reduce national insurance but leave the tax threshold as it is. Also, we keep giving money to France to do nothing in the Channel, giving billions in foreign aid, sending millions to Ukraine, spending 15 million a day on illegals, who this government told us would not be allowed to stay. You tell me if this is a competent government, and I don't even mention the money spent on the great climate hoax, he says, but that's obviously debatable.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is distress. I mean, the thing is, you can obviously see that people are creaking at the seams with what they've got to pay and what they're expected to pay and how the heck you survive. My hat goes off. Everybody's doing a splendid job. Do politicians get it? Do they realise how bad it is? Do you know what? I'm going to be controversial here. I'm not sure they do.
No.
I think they play their little political games and they work in and work there. Do real things that affect real people's lives. Listen to what real people have to say. Listen to what hurts them. Forget all your internal politics, because that's not going to win you the election.
Well, right. I go as far as to say I think many Tory MPs actually realise today that this isn't enough.
Yeah.
This 2p cut in national insurance.
Do you know what? Let's find out if it is enough.
Yeah.
A guy's been on the programme before. We say good morning to James Farley. James, a potato farmer. Let's see him. There he is there. There's the Vice Chairman of Cheltenham Football Club, Paul Bence. Hiya, Paul. And care support worker Michelle Chisholm there. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. You're good. Michelle, how's everything? We're all full of expectation today about what we need, and you know, your colleagues from a business point of view, they'll have things specific to their businesses. What are you looking for?
Okay, so as you know, or you may not know, I'm a care support worker, and I'm pro-vehicle. The thing that I think is quite important would be a cut in fuel tax. Everybody is, or the majority of people are relying on vehicles these days. You know, they're the social heartbeat of our country, and yet we're constantly paying more and more and more at the petrol pump. What I'm finding is that people that are driving electric vehicles somehow seem to get away with not paying as much as people in petrol vehicles. And I just find it grossly unfair. London is kind of being managed in a different way. The motorist is being hit day on, day out. We've got the ULEZ fees. We've got low traffic neighbourhoods. I mean, Hounslow Council in itself took £12 million in a 2-year period using 2 streets. It's just a constant attack. Fairfuel UK recently did a poll, and 64% of people said they wanted the fuel duty slashed. 97% of drivers said they wanted cuts. And we're looking at cuts of 20 pence per litre. We're not talking about 5 pence per litre. And just to go back on the topic you were just talking about, politicians are out of touch. We've got night czars in London. We've got walking and cycling commissioners in London that are on salaries in excess of £100,000. The night czar is working 2.5 days a week and on £117,000. What you've got to understand is that for a carer to earn that kind of salary, she would have to do 187 hours per week for 52 weeks of the year, which is physically impossible. So it's all very well people in high places earning big salaries saying, oh, well, you know, it's just another tax. It's not a big cut. But it is when you're only earning, you know, £12.50 an hour. And it's about time people started listening.
Okay,
I drive around 100 to 200 miles a week, and my petrol is going up and up and up on a daily basis.
Good fair point, Michelle. We're going to let the other guys speak as well, but very good points.
James, let's go over to you, shall we? You're a potato farmer, aren't you? So you obviously work very hard. What would you like to see in the budget today?
Well, I'd like to see us having a fair playing field for food in the UK. We're up against a lot of imported food produced at lower cost. So what I'd like to see is an import tax on the food products from abroad. But then to use that money, don't let it get filtered into the system, but use that money to help incentivise renewable energy back within the agricultural industry in order to help meet our carbon footprint. I think that's a big must. We need to be, we don't account for air miles when we're importing food. So that needs to be brought into the debate if we're going to have an open and honest debate. Another one that is also more sort of broad spectrum. Over the last 10 years, we've suffered 41% inflation. What we as a nation are suffering is the top tax bracket. It's not really moving in line with inflation in terms of what you earn. So the harder we're working nowadays and we're having to pay more in wages, these guys are getting hit harder with taxes compared to where we were 10 years ago. So I think we're all getting caught in that aspect, that we need to be moving this top tax bracket in line with inflation every year to keep it fair.
James, I can't totally see that football poster behind you. What is that poster you have? Who is that of? Who is it?
That's unfortunately Eamon of the big man, and you never picked that up the last time, and I was disappointed.
What big man? Who is it? I can't see it. Who is it?
It's Viva Ronaldo.
Oh, excellent, the big man. Well, that's very good. You see, I would give you a tax rebate for that, mate. That's excellent. We'll then go to Paul, who is the chairman of Cheltenham FC. And I have to say, Paul, my brother-in-law goes for all your home games. He's a very good time. I remember having a conversation with Andy Gray once, and he said best time he ever had was when he played for Cheltenham FC. So there's a big responsibility on your shoulders for people's relaxation and indeed how they spend their money and if they think they get value for money. And is that hurting you at all, Paul, from a time when people feel their pay packet is squeezed and they have other things to do with it? Do you find that at the gate, or what's happening?
Our gates aren't too bad at the moment, although we haven't done very well at home the last couple of games. But look, I know you're a United fan, Eamon, so if ever you want to come watch some proper football, then you're always very welcome here in Cheltenham, although you might be here for the races next week. But I was actually going to be talking about the construction industry today.
Yeah.
That's sort of my main job, and that's what we spoke about last week on the show. So ultimately, we need stability and certainty for our industry. Right now, the UK construction's in recession. House building 30% down, driven by a large increase in bank interest rates. So mortgage rates are higher. People have got less money to spend, as our colleagues have just spoken about just then. So although inflation's dropped, it's clear that interest rates are going to stay high for the rest of this year. So what the government must first do, in my view, is get hold of inflation, because this will in turn drive interest rates down, which then promotes investment in our lovely British economy. So the first one for me is on new house sales, which really drive our sector. So anything that could offer an immediate stimulus is really vital. So temporarily removing stamp duty, I mentioned that on my shopping list last week, which would be most welcome. We've already seen how effective this can be when, following the pandemic, a temporary reduction it really created a surge in house sales. I know earlier on the show you're talking about how the government has cut VAT. I think it's a really important one for us on the home improvement works to reverse the worrying drop in the private repair and maintenance activity. So putting more cash in householders' pockets to make their homes fit for the future.
Yeah, but there's taxes everywhere. There's invisible taxes all around. I mean, you look at your business, you look at building houses. I mean, VAT, for instance. I often think it's a vile tax. I think it's, you go and you buy something, you lay out your own money, and then you're hit again.
So, and I think, when you look at the VAT, this needs to be cut on all home improvement works, because that would, in turn, we can back local builders who employ tens of thousands of people in each community across the country. And there's some independent research which showed that if the government cut VAT on home improvements to 5% for a temporary 5-year period, then this would generate an economic boost of over 50 billion, unlock almost 350,000 jobs in the construction and wider economy. So households are more likely to install green measures if they're doing large home improvement projects. So cutting VAT alongside a green homes grant scheme would really boost our transition towards net zero carbon emissions by 2050.
Well, listen, thanks for chipping in, the three of you. And not that any of us are going to make much of a difference, but we're just saying, you know, Jeremy Hunt, this is what we need, this is what we want, these are the problems, and there could be some of the solutions there. James, Paul, Michelle, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but we've got to say goodbye to you there. Good luck. Thank you. Yeah, and we want to hear from you as well. What would you like to hear in the budget at about 12:30 today? Do let us know. gbviews@gbnews.com.